I am so happy to be watching Summer House. Like, I don't need anything to change yet. I'm really into it, but people are in different stages of life, which I cannot
Yes.
believe that we have spoke 22 minutes about Summer House and have not talked about the 10-minute reveal of Lindsay being pregnant.
When Gabby and Lindsay have that like intense conversation in the bedroom, and Gabby is like, Lindsay, I want you to feel good. This is the most. And then she pauses like she's overwhelmed with emotion. And Lindsay is like, the most important speech of my life, which it is funny that Lindsay sort of counts her life in speeches. She's like, I've given a lot of important speeches, but this is the most important one. And then that is what she delivered.
And she had been practicing, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, "You've
Memorized
practiced
it.
it, you know your lines," and that is what she was practicing?
She also speaks for 22 minutes about her past relationships when she says, she first of all gets up there and addresses that there are two new people in the room who do not know her and do not know what she's talking about. They are also, by the way, the most attentive because at least to them, this is new information.
N
When she
Yeah.
hits them with the 8 years
8
ago, I came into this
Yeah.
house, everyone's like, what the fuck?
No,
We're going
Kyle was
back
like,
eight.
"Oh, okay, we're
Oh,
starting 8 years ago." And then I love throughout, like, then 7 summers ago, and they, like, zoom in on someone's face, and it's, like, Paige just nodding her head like, "Yep, sandwiches, remember that."
yeah.
Like, they're all just like, "Mhm, mhm," going summer from summer, like, to summer to summer, summer. Then at the very end, she's like, "Which leads me to this summer, which, God has a plan for everyone, and I'm pregnant." And they whip up I don't know, 20 by
They went to
20
Kinko's. They
poster
got their ass to
board
a Staples and got a cardboard print.
science project, but like poster board of her baby's ultrasound.
Yeah, she's pregnant.
I did love I like rewound and watched it over and over again to see everyone's reactions. And West's was my favorite. He
What do you do?
popped he popped up from the couch and just clasped his hands like a mother would do.
I can picture him doing that in my
He
head.
was like
I do still love him. Like I do like his
Yeah.
personality. He said, and I liked that
Yeah.
when he sat down, he was like, "Are you not drinking? Because I people are saying you're pregnant." It's like he wanted to know, and he doesn't know well enough to know that Lindsay has a 20-minute speech planned, or what she
Right.
probably thinks is a 10-minute speech, and then turns into a 20-minute speech to deliver. It's so funny that this would be the most like to tell these people that she's pregnant is the
Would
most
be the most
important speech of
important
her life.
speech. I thought about that. I'm like, so on camera in front of people that aren't really your friends other than Gabby, although her and Paige do seem pretty close right now. Um, that you're pregnant is your most important speech. I would assume telling like your parents that you're pregnant with a guy that we don't even know his last name, Tucker.
And his first name is a
Um,
last name. So I was like, what are we calling him
right.
here?
Um, is interesting. But honestly, everyone's reactions was fine. I thought it was perfect that Carl wasn't there
Yes.
for this actual speech. I also can't imagine announcing my pregnancy and going through like my stages of men to announce that I'm pregnant.
I wonder how Tucker feels about that, about
Yeah.
like the universe because and then she's just obviously trying to tie it to the summer house and like no, it actually makes sense that I'm here as a 5 months pregnant person because this
Yeah.
is all involved. But when she says, my journey has been nothing short of disastrous. It's very like made like like you would write a senior English paper, like here's your thesis
Right.
sentence, here are your body paragraphs, here's your closing statement that brings back in the thesis sentence. And she says, and the biggest lesson that I've learned is that the universe has its own plan, and the universe's plan is that I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
It's such a weird way to do it. But then, of course, the funniest part is that somehow in between giving the speech, changing her pants, and going back out to dinner, she hard launches the pregnancy with a paid partnership on Instagram with
That
the same language.
that is
The
the
universe's plan.
craziest. That's because she was practicing in the car, she was writing her caption in the car, everything was teed up and ready to go. She was like, "Let me tell these people, post." Like, it
Kyle
was
said, "Did she launch it from her pocket?"
yeah, like, I think it wasn't just the most important speech, like, it was the speech and the post and everyone finding out was a big moment for her,
Yes.
and, well, of course, she's not gonna say that on the show, but, like, that's what I kind of gathered for her to post so quickly after telling them.
I'm
Also, I'm
sure that
like,
clear blue check
this
also wasn't unimportant or whatever the pregnancy
no, no,
test
no, no,
is
no.
called.
But also, I'm like, this bitch does not trust these people. She's like, I
No.
just told him I gotta post it now because it's gonna be on Demois in the next 5 minutes.
She said, "I'm launching from my pocket because they're texting from their pocket and I'm gonna beat
Yeah.
them because I got it typed out in my notes app." But Paige said exactly what I was thinking when Kyle was like, "Did she just launch this from her pocket?" And then they read the caption out loud and it was the same thing about like the universe has its own plan. She said, "I love her. I love her so much." That was like
Yeah.
literally what I said out loud. There's no one like Lindsay Hubbard.
No one. Also, Paige was like, that bitch stays with a paid partnership.
And you just have to respect it at this point because it is consistent, you know? It's like Lindsay
Yeah.
is Lindsay. That's who she is.
And she's been pretty consistent throughout. I would say last summer was probably her least consistent, but like it ended up being more consistent by the end. Um, Also, when she went and changed, I was like, everyone had to have known. She's fully pregnant
Gabby did also come in a big giant shirt, and I wondered if she did that out of solidarity.
on purpose,
That's a
probably.
loyal Gabby is a loyal friend.
Loyal. Yeah, because let me tell you, Lindsay has a belly. Like she is pregnant. She is almost halfway there. In 2 weeks, she is halfway there, which also led to the mathletes in the room
Sierra beautiful
trying
minding this shit.
trying to she was like, yeah, no, I was doing math. So you broke up in July or August, broke up in August, wedding was in
September.
November, or broke up in September, wedding was in November, and you're 4.5 months pregnant, met this guy in December. She got pregnant in January. Met this
She's
guy in
16 months. I mean, she's
six
16 weeks. So
eighteen
she's
weeks. She's she was 2 weeks away from halfway. 18 weeks pregnant,
okay,
and
she's 18 weeks pregnant. That's 4.5 months. Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna do it like Sierra. She and Carl broke up in September. The wedding was supposed to be in November. That
Mhm.
doesn't really matter. The new guy reached out to her in December. And they already
Mhm.
knew each other. She reached back out to him in January. She said, let's say she did it on New Year's Day. She did it on Jan 1. Um, she's pregnant by March because it's July. I think it's July
Yeah.
4th ish. It's July, and she's 4.5.
I don't know if it's July yet. I think it's June
She
in the summer
mentioned
house.
4th of July in her Instagram post, and I think they started filming
Oh, you're
around the
right.
4th of July.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
she did mention
around
4th of July.
the 4th of
4th of
July.
July, yeah,
So, like, it's just they were dating absolutely not a day longer than 2 months before they got
yeah,
pregnant together, and probably
correct.
closer to 1.5. Good on them. Just committed. She knew what she wanted, and
Well
I guess Dr. Tucker did too.
well, yeah, I mean, they're connected for life no matter what happens. So,
I mean,
that's
I don't see I'm wondering if accusations of like this happening before she and Carl broke up in some way are gonna come, but it seems more
no, I
like
don't think
some sort of
so.
accusation against Carl is coming. A lot of
Yes,
accusations coming.
a lot of accusations coming. We do see at the very end of the episode that Carl comes in and is kind of you can see, like, the anxiety on his face. I
Well, Carl should not
personally
be there.
totally understand. It would be a really weird situation to go into. I also understand, like, Lindsay can do what she wants. I saw her on Watch What Happens Live being like, I'm not gonna apologize for men's problems and the choices that they've made. That is completely fair. Like, I'm not saying that Lindsay has to live her life differently. I'm saying that it's understandable for your ex-fiance of less than a year to be shaken up that you're 4.5 months pregnant.
It certainly is, yes. I feel if I were Carl's friend, I would say, "Carl, find your paycheck somewhere else. You're not cut out for this." Like, Lindsay
Or, like,
Hubbard
take a
is
weekend off. Take the first weekend
couple
off.
weeks off, be a friend of
Yeah.
this season.
Yeah.
Lindsay
Uh-huh.
is cut out to end a relationship, start a new relationship, create life inside of her body, show up at the summer house, give a 20-minute speech, and hop in the pool in a bikini. Carl's not for that life. Carl's taking
Mm-mm.
deep, heavy, gasping breaths in the bathroom. Like, he's just not doing well. I don't feel like he should be there at this moment in his life and on camera. I mean, I hope he's doing better. Like, I hope he does fine. It just doesn't seem, and he could not have accounted for the
No.
pregnancy nor for the ultrasound photo on the mantelpiece when he arrived. But I just am like, I mean, he's just got a lot of anxiety. Like, he just
I
shouldn't be
know. He
there.
does on a regular day. He does on a
Yeah.
regular day. He purposely didn't come the first night because he was like, let Lindsay get comfy." And then he was like, "Oh, so now I'm coming on the second night after she announced that she was pregnant to the house and then to the world." And, like, not like I just found out I'm pregnant, but I'm halfway there.
Someone needs
Like,
to
this
get
baby is
Carl in a
coming.
room with Bose to talk about the art of war, because you know what you should never do? Let Lindsay get comfy, because you know what she's gonna do? Make a pregnancy announcement with a 20 by 20 sonogram and, like, completely take over the house. That woman is made for war.
100%. And, doing all that while thinking, "This is normal."
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. It's like
like
drinking water to her. She didn't even think about it.
exactly. She is not worried about Carl coming into the house. When they said we're having a boys' night, the boys' day out, she was like, "Oh man," like joking around, like, "I really want Carl to be here all day." Like, Lindsay does not give a fuck.
She's wild. She's a wild person. I've never personally met anyone like her.
But she is she's gotta be like a top 5 Bravo person that I like watching.
I found myself thinking in the very final clip, so they roll the trailer for the rest of the season, which we've seen
Mhm.
before, except for like the last 20 seconds, which get the 6-month later stamp. And we see, because Summer House is going to pick a camera back up. If they're going to do one
Mhm.
thing, it is pick a camera back up. They pick the cameras back up for a women's summit on the Paige and Craig breakup, clearly, which just happened so recently. And we hear Paige say in the trailer, like, you're gonna insinuate or like let it be look like I've been cheating when I caught you catching two bitches during the course of our texting two bitches during the course of our relationship.
Mhm.
Seconds later, camera pans over to Lindsay
Mm,
pumping her
mm,
breasts,
mm,
and Paige just
mm.
starts laughing. And I was like, these two women, individually and together, are made for television. And they are
100%.
not much longer for this summer house life. Let's face it. Lindsay's out. She should not be there most of this summer either.
Well, she probably can't do
Put
it
them on a different
anymore.
show. I'd love to watch them in the
Yeah.
city. I would love to watch them anywhere. Like, let's pivot to these personalities and then get your Lexis and your Jessies in the summer house or whatever.
They're gonna have
I
to
don't
figure
want
it
it to wear
out.
thin.
Yeah, where they're gonna have to figure it out because, like, obviously, Bravo knows how popular Lindsay and Paige are. I mean, specifically Paige, like, she's
Mhm.
really grown, like, a very steady following of warriors. Put them both on the new Roni together.
I think build something around them, like, and maybe throw Jessel in there. Like, they're they're
Something.
they're better than Roni, kinda, like Roni's sort of
Well,
been
Roni's in a
tanked.
rough place.
I don't
But they gotta figure something else out. Lindsay's not gonna be able to come to the summer house with a fucking kid.
and God
So
help her, she would. Someone has to save her from herself and just let her have a show in the city.
Bravo has to be like, "We are so sorry." What's the baby's name? Do we know?
We We
Yeah,
probably
we
know
do
in
know.
real time, but on the show, she said, "We do have a name, we're keeping it to ourselves." And Sierra said, "Who is we?" I love
Yeah.
Sierra interrogating Lindsay at the dinner table because it was so clear that she had just come from Traders. Like, she had just come
Oh,
from a
yeah,
game
from the
show
round
where you were, like,
table.
interrogating people at tables, and she was ready.
So, her baby's name is Gemma Britt. So yeah, Gemma is not coming to the summer house. Bravo has to lay the hammer down.
I mean, she will
Turner
in
and
22
Gemma
years when she's invited to Summer House
can't
Next
come.
Generation, but right now,
Yes.
no.
Yeah, sorry. Right now, Gemma and Turner have to stay home.
But keep Lindsay at home too, and let's get cameras on her.
Cameras.
I'm just there
Yeah,
are
we got
pivot points, and it's time to find them. We've pushed it
I
long
just think
enough.
they gave, a ton of people spin-off shows. I think Lindsay and Paige deserve one if they're not coming back to the summer house. I think Paige still has maybe a few more summers left in her, but I assume Amanda has talked about getting pregnant, like that could happen. Like they got to figure out the next iteration until they're so that they're not like forced into it. I would like for there to be a smooth transition. Last thing on Summer House before we pivot to Beverly Hills. The last 10 seconds. They pick the cameras back up. We see Paige say what she says. Um, we also saw that Southern Charm put the cameras back up, and we see Craig say what he says. Two things. One, it seems like this is the prime fucking time for Winter House. Get these casts back into Winter House. What are we doing?
And
Fine,
keep Danielle out of there.
let's let's find let's seriously let's find a home in the Poconos, wherever the fuck. Get these casts are feuding right now. It is perfect timing, and then you can sprinkle in some below deckers in there. But
I would like to see the full cast of Summer House and the full cast of Southern Charm, like Real World Road Rules Challenge style, go to
oh,
Winter
that'd be
House and just
so
see what
fun.
happens.
That would be so fun. But yeah, I think they need to pick those cameras back up.